The town thought he was just a stray, but his 7-day vigil led police to a hidden steel hatch. Inside the darkness, 12 kidnapped girls, praying someone would finally hear them. Officer Ethan Cole had lived in Ashford, Montana for nearly a decade, and by now he thought he understood the rhythm of the town as well as the veins in his own hand. Mornings were always the same, mist rolling through the Pine Valley, wood smoke lingering from breakfast stoves, and the distant rumble of logging trucks climbing toward the ridge. Ashford was a place where time seemed reluctant to move forward, where neighbors still waved to each other even if they hadn't spoken in years. That's why, on a chilly October morning, the sight of a dog by the river unsettled him more than it should have. The German Shepherd stood rigid at the riverbank, tan and black coat matted from rain, one paw forward, ears pricked like antennae tuned to something only he could hear. No collar, no leash, just sharp amber eyes fixed on the bend of the river where water curled beneath the cliffs. Ethan slowed his patrol car, rolled down the window. The air smelled of wet earth and pine sap. "Where'd you come from, boy?" he murmured. The dog flicked an ear but didn't move. Strays weren't unusual in Ashford. Hunters abandoned dogs that didn't perform, ranch dogs wandered, and people assumed animals could fend for themselves. But as the day went on, Ethan couldn't shake those amber eyes. That evening, he circled back. The sun had slid behind the mountains, staining the horizon purple, and there the shepherd still stood, same spot, same posture, staring as if hours hadn't passed. A cold shiver crawled down Ethan's neck. For the next week, it became a ritual. Every morning, the German Shepherd was there, sometimes standing, sometimes crouched low, sometimes pacing, but always staring at the same stretch of river. Rain didn't matter, fog didn't matter. He never strayed far, never chased a bird or squirrel, never wandered into town. By the 5th day, Ethan could no longer ignore it. He parked, grabbed the sandwich he hadn't finished at lunch, and approached slowly. "Hey, buddy," he called, crouching a few feet away. The shepherd sniffed, snapped up the sandwich in one bite, and immediately turned back to the river as though nothing else existed. Ethan frowned. Dogs didn't behave like this. Even strays showed curiosity, wagging tails or hungry eyes. This one's loyalty wasn't to people, it was to whatever lay hidden in that river bend. Then Ethan heard it. At first, only the steady rush of the Madison River. Then, faint, deliberate. Knock, knock. 2 short taps. Silence. Then again. His mouth drew dry. The shepherd gave a low, mournful whine that raised the hair on Ethan's arms. The dog stepped closer to the edge, tail stiff, body trembling with focus, the kind he had seen once before in trained search and rescue dogs. Scanning the cliffside, he spotted something half hidden by brush, a flash of dull metal, not a drain pipe, too deliberate. His pulse quickened, he reached for his radio, then hesitated. What would he even report? That a stray dog was obsessed with a riverbank? That he thought he heard knocking? Without proof, dispatch would laugh him off. But deep down, Ethan's instincts gnawed at him. Something was wrong. That night, he barely slept. On the 7th morning, frost glazed the ground like broken glass. Ethan sipped diner coffee as he drove past the river, and sure enough, the shepherd was there again. But this time was different. The dog paced frantically, whining, paws digging trenches in the frost. When Ethan pulled over, the shepherd barked for the first time, a sharp, commanding sound that echoed across the valley. He darted toward the cliffside, stopped, looked back, and barked again. "Show me," he muttered, following. The dog led him down a treacherous deer path toward the rocks. Spray from the river dampened his uniform. At a shadowed cut in the rock face, Ethan lifted his flashlight. There, wedged into the cliff, was a steel hatch half hidden by vines. Rust streaked its edges, but the padlock sealing it was new, stainless steel, glinting with frost. The sound came again. Knock, knock. 2 short taps, silence, then again. It was unmistakable, human. Ethan pressed his ear to the hatch. Beneath the rush of water, he heard it, faint, muffled, but real. A sob. He staggered back, staring at the shepherd, who now stood rigid, eyes blazing. The dog barked once, sharp as a command. "There's someone in there," he whispered. Scrambling back to his cruiser, his fingers were numb, but his resolve was burning. He radioed dispatch. "Dispatch, this is Cole. I need a supervisor and bolt cutters at the South River Bend under the Madison Cliffs. Bring EMS on standby. Quiet approach." The line went silent for a beat before the dispatcher replied, wary. "Copy. Units en route." The shepherd padded up beside him, pressing against his leg just enough to steady him, and Ethan realized something chilling. This wasn't a stray. He was a witness, a guardian. Snow was falling lightly by the time the first cruiser arrived. Red and blue lights blinked against the pines. Sergeant Lena Hart, a no-nonsense veteran with 30 years on the force, climbed out. "You better have more than dog tracks, Cole." "I do." His eyes flicked to the German shepherd still at his post. Hart followed Ethan down the slick path. Her flashlight caught the padlock. "That's new," she muttered. As if to prove it, the sound came again. 2 muffled knocks. Hart froze. Jesus, there's someone inside. Backup arrived with bolt cutters. Ethan braced them against the lock. The shackle snapped with a metallic crack. A breath of warm, stale air hissed out. They descended carefully into the darkness, leaving the shepherd at the top. At the bottom, Ethan shoved open a swollen wooden door. A large room stretched beneath the cliffs, lit by bare bulbs. Rows of metal cots lined the walls. On the floor, huddled together, were 12 young women, shivering, pale from weeks without sunlight. One whispered, hoarse, "Help us." Hart exhaled. "Dear God." Ethan radioed, "Dispatch, multiple victims confirmed. Get EMS down here immediately." The women flinched at his voice. Ethan crouched. "You're safe now." A girl no older than 16 shook her head. "He locks us in at night. He says no one will ever find us." Before she could continue, the German shepherd barked furiously from above. "Someone's coming," Ethan snapped. Hart drew her weapon. A silhouette blocked the hatch. The man bolted. The shepherd launched, clamping onto the man's coat sleeve, dragging him down until Ethan cuffed him. It was Raymond Cross, the church's longtime caretaker, the man everyone thought harmless. "Why, Ray?" Hart demanded. His face twisted. "Nobody would have listened to them. Nobody ever listens." Ethan looked down at the shepherd, still growling. He listened. By dawn, the victims were carried up the cliffs into waiting ambulances. The news would later call it the hidden dungeon beneath Ashford, but to Ethan, it would always be the dog's discovery. When Animal Control asked what should be done with the stray, Ethan didn't hesitate. "He's not a stray. He's my partner now." And in the frosty light of a Montana morning, Officer Ethan Cole realized something he would never forget. Sometimes heroes don't wear badges. Sometimes they wear fur and wait, patient and silent, until someone is ready to listen. This may be just a story, but in the real world, silent heroes like dogs save lives every single day. If you believe animals deserve to be heard, loved, and protected, hit like, subscribe, and share this video right now. Your one click could help spread awareness and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves.